Today, we joined NBC News and their live coverage of the memorial ceremonies in Oklahoma City.
9:02.
For those of you who are just joining us, this is the beginning of the ceremonies 1 year after the terrible explosion in Oklahoma City. The commemoration ceremonies, the celebration ceremonies of a community and lives that go on.
We were told that they left Fort Worth at 8:40 something with their computers already set. Their timing will be right. I do remind you again that the noise will be awesome, but that this flight is meant as an honoring of those we have loved, a symbol of our nation, honoring lives lost, but lives precious in memory.
168 seconds of silence for the 168 victims of the Oklahoma City bombing. No more appropriate commemoration of their lives in that awful day, because no words can capture the feelings of the people who are gathered here today, the people who are watching as well. I'm joined by John Hanson, the Assistant City Fire Chief in Oklahoma City. John, you were watching that screen as carefully as I was. It must have brought back some memories for you as well.
Oh, it did, Tom. But the memories that you really want to hold on to are the response that this community and this nation to help Oklahoma City, just as we've all gathered here again to pay tribute to those 168 brave people, 19 of them children, who gave their lives in the building behind us.
This is a city and a state, really, of great faith. And what I've been struck by is how all the races came together and all the faiths came together and all the parts of the culture of Oklahoma came together here. Cowboys and white-collar professional workers, Baptists and Catholics, blacks and whites.
When we go around the country and talk about the incident now, we have just a phrase that we've kind of coined it as, that's Oklahoma. It's the kind of people that we have here, and as well as the rest of the part of the country, but we did bond together and continue to do that, to hold each other up.
Well, I think I speak on behalf of the entire country when I say that we have all been lifted by the response of Oklahoma City and by the workers here and what they did on that day. We're going to go back now to the ceremonies. This will be the beginning of the reading of the 168 names, and as we take you back to the beginning of these ceremonies, we'll tell you that NBC News will have continuing coverage throughout the day of this remarkable community and this commemoration of that awful day a year ago, but also this commemoration of life as it goes on. The triumph, really, of goodness over evil in the heartland. I'm Tom Brokaw, NBC News in Oklahoma.
You've been watching the ceremonies commemorating the bombing in Oklahoma City. We now bring you a special episode of Leeza, Oklahoma City, 1 year later. We're approaching a day that will be marked with sadness for all of us. It was a day that, as a nation, we were spiritually wounded by a senseless terrorist attack. It was on this day 1 year ago that the worst terrorist act in U.S. history took place. A bomb ripped through the Alfred Murrah Federal Building in downtown Oklahoma City, killing 169 people, injuring countless others, leaving a community and a nation devastated. Many of those who have stories of personal pain have been on our show. One of them will be here today, Edie Smith, who lost her 2 little boys. The boy's father, her ex-husband, proposed to her again on our show. We'll find out from Edie today what happened. And we'll check in with other survivors. And one of the first reporters on the scene will tell us what the story is now from Oklahoma City. One of the most dramatic stories, I think, was Dana's. While trapped under tons of concrete, she was basically given 2 choices. They could cut off her leg above the knee, or she could die. She didn't know it at the time, but the blast had killed her 2 children and her mother and left her sister critically injured. Dana is still healing at this time, and her health doesn't permit her to travel, but she is with us today for an exclusive interview via satellite, along with her husband, Gabe, and her sister, Felicia. Thanks very much to all of you. Dana, it's hard to know where to begin. Your losses have been so profound. Can we start with that day you were with your sister, your mom, your 2 children, and you were in the federal building almost by a fluke? I know it's difficult to go back to that time, but what do you remember, if anything, of the actual blast?
I remember a flashlight going over the desk that me and my sister were standing at, and everything went dark. And I was calling for help, but it was like people couldn't hear me. I was dead. I literally saw myself dead.
You told our producers that in those first few horrifying moments, you actually said you could hear your children and hear your mom.
Yes, they were alive.
What do you remember hearing, Dana?
I could hear my daughter screaming, "Mama," and my 3-month-old son, he could say, "Mama," and he was screaming. And I could hear my mother saying, "No," really loud.
The anguish of that moment was overwhelming enough, and added to it was the fact that you could not get to them. You were trapped underneath tons of concrete, most of which was on top of, you were pinned in, most of that was on top of your leg. Were you in shock at the time, or could you feel the pain?
I was in shock. I couldn't feel anything.
Jeff was one of the rescue team who found you first, Jeff Steele, who's there today. Jeff, can you tell us what condition Dana was in when you first discovered her?
Dana was covered with debris. It took a lot of hard work to pull all of the concrete, the debris off of her. And her level of consciousness was lowered. Her blood pressure was down. She was in pretty serious condition.
Did you know right away, when did you basically give the information to her that she was going to lose her leg or be trapped there?
Dr. Massad and Dr. Sullivan are the ones that actually gave her the information that she was going to have to either amputate her leg or she wasn't going to make it.
Dana, from what they tell me, your response was a tremendously courageous one at that moment, as it has been in the following months. What did you say when you heard that?
I told them that to do what they had to do, just get me out of there.
What they had to do was challenging on a number of levels. There was very little room. Conditions were crude. Now, there was a reason why they said they couldn't give you anesthesia. What were they able to give you for the pain?
Jeff knows.
She was given a shot.
But Jeff, they had to amputate her leg by using and please correct me if I'm wrong, by using basically a pocket knife or a series of pocket knives?
They used surgical scalpels. They probably used a total of 5. They broke some blades in the process. And then they used an amputation knife.
And did Dana ultimately pass out from that pain?
At the end, when I got ready to pull Dana out of the concrete cave that she was in, she lost consciousness.
I want to ask Gabe, basically, Gabe, you have, with Dana, have lived through the greatest pain I think there is, losing a child. I'm sure there's not a day that goes by, many times a day, when you and Dana don't think about those 2 beautiful children.
Well, sometimes I feel like I wake up to them, like you'd think they'd be there or something.
And the 2 of you, though, there's nothing that can ever bring those children back or replace the emotional spot in your lives. But you are beginning again. You're starting another family.
We're supposed to have a baby boy. And I'm happy, but it's not going to replace my 2 kids.
The baby is due when? Very soon?
Yeah, it's the 28th.
Wow. Congratulations. I want to talk about certainly that joy in your life. I want to talk with your sister, who's there today too when we come back, because the bond between these 2 ladies is very special now. They were always close, but Felicia's injuries were severe after the blast, and they've found a new way to love each other, in memory of their mom too, I think. We'll talk with Felicia, talk about the plans for the new baby, and later also visit with Edie Smith. Her 2 children were also killed during the bombing. She and her husband were divorced. They're back together now. They also are hoping to start another family. We'll meet other survivors and residents of Oklahoma City today and see what the mood is now. Oklahoma City 1 year later. That's our focus of today's Leeza. Photos there of some lives that were lost in the bombing 1 year ago in Oklahoma City. Those were Dana's children and her mother. Dana is here with us today with her husband and her sister Felicia. Since the bombing, Dana has undergone extensive medical treatment. She had to have her leg amputated to be removed from the building. It's been such a year of emotional challenge for you, Dana. What has sustained you? How have you even gotten through to this point where you're looking at now about to give birth to a new baby? And how have you been so strong?
I basically my mom teach me how to be independent. So it's like I like to do everything for myself, and I don't want people to feel sorry for me.
You mentioned to our producers that there were a couple of people who were inspirational to you, and one of them was Whitney Houston. You said her music has really been a source of strength during this time.
Yes.
Right now, we have someone wanting to talk to you, Dana. Whitney Houston is on the phone. She called in and wanted to give her regards to you. Whitney?
Hi.
Whitney, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hi, Dana.
Hi.
How are you, darling?
Okay.
Oh, you sound great.
Thank you.
I can't see you, but you sound great.
Which of Whitney's songs did you listen to?
A lot of her songs. Love Will Save the Day. Waiting to Exhale.
Oh, sweet.
What's the song that we sing together?
Whitney, this is a lady of remarkable strength and courage as she sits here today to tell her story of great challenge and the role that you played in it.
Yeah, I'm truly amazed that I could play that kind of role in anybody's life. But anything that I can ever do or sing, Dana, at any point in time, you just let me know. I mean, you've been through so much, and my God, I'm in tears now, and just know that I'm constantly praying for you, and thank you for your encouragement and your inspiration, because you are truly a blessing to everyone who looks at you and who knows what you've been through. God is truly blessed.
It's beautiful. Dana, is there something that you want to say to Whitney?
I'm so nervous.
I can imagine. This is a big surprise and a powerful moment.
I'm kind of nervous myself, Dana.
Your baby is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. And I wish you much of God's blessings on your new baby. He's truly blessed you.
Whitney, thank you for caring enough to extend yourself to another person who has been through great challenges, and Dana, like so many others, has gotten a lot of strength from your music.
Well, Dana, I'd like to thank you for letting me in your life. I thank you, and I love you much.
Thank you.
Whitney Houston, thank you so much, Whitney. It's nice.
Bye-bye.
Dana, and not only Whitney, but there's someone else that you've said has been inspirational to you. Whoopi Goldberg, am I right? There's something coming to you in the mail. Something coming from Whoopi. She wanted you to know, she sent a message to you, to Dana. She says, be strong, keep the faith, You, Dana, are an inspiration to all of us. Love Whoopi Goldberg, and that is being framed and sent with a picture. It's on its way to you right now. I know that the people who are living the daily challenges with you are the real heroes in this story, and one of them is sitting right next to you, your sister Felicia. Felicia, you were hurt severely in the blast. Can you tell us the extent of your injuries?
I had head trauma. My arm, right arm was crushed, and 60% of my body was burned.
The two of you, sisters, you were there with your mom. How has this tragedy changed the relationship between you?
It's brought us closer together. Now all we have is each other, and she's my arms, and I'm her legs.
There was a woman watching the news coverage as people were being rescued, and those first horrifying reports were coming in. And she is in the studio with us today. Donna Jackson, who is a dear friend now of Dana's. Now, these two ladies, you did not know each other, Donna?
No.
You first learned of her through television, am I right?
Right. I was watching the news and reading the paper, and when I saw how she had to have her leg amputated, I was so moved by her spirit and her willingness to live that I just knew I had to get involved and do something.
And what did you do?
Well, I'm in the prosthetics field. I design artificial limbs, and so I had been, actually had seen surgeries before, and so I knew what it was like to go into surgery under normal conditions, and when I saw what she was going through, I decided that the least I could do was help her to get a prosthetic.
And talk about a great patient. She was up and working with that artificial leg within just a few weeks.
Right.
And the two of you, well, I'll ask you, Dana, how do you describe your relationship with Donna now?
It's great. We talk, we communicate with each other as much as possible.
When we come back, we're going to meet someone who will be at the memorial service that will be held in downtown Oklahoma City, Edie Smith, whose two little boys died in the blast. And we'll return in a moment. We'll talk after this. Are you an easy target for a criminal? Does the way you walk, where you park, or how you drive put you in danger?
When he grabbed me from behind, he slammed my head into the car.
On the next Leeza, learn to think like a criminal and lower your risk of becoming a victim.
He was going to kill me.
If you think you're being followed, you make right-hand turns.
An ex-con and a former cop give you tips that could save your life.
If they want your car, they're going to get it. Know your parking spot and look for all the dangerous spots.
Next Leeza. It's been a year now, and today we're talking about the survivors of the Oklahoma City bombing. Edie Smith has been on the show with us before. Edie, welcome back. It's nice to see you again. Your two boys, who were so darling, beautiful children. This home video just breaks your heart. It's just so touching. When you see this and you think about them, do you go back to the way it was every day?
Sure I do. Every day I think about him constantly, and I wish that things could be the way they were, on the 18th. But I also believe that everything happens for a reason, and I feel like I have there's something out here for me to do. If I can help one person through my display of strength and tell people how much God has helped me through this, then, maybe that's what I was supposed to do with my life in the first place.
Well, the last time you were here, you know how much mail you get and how much response you get from people whose lives you touched, and we got a lot of it too, that triumph of your spirit, the courage that you've had. You talked then about the loss of your boys, Colton and Chase, and I want to play a bit of the tape from when you were here last now, Edie. Watch.
You know, because I I'll never have their little arms around me again. And that hurts, but, you know, life has to go on. And I see so much good coming out of it already that it's helped me through.
You said you've seen so much good come out of it. What do you mean?
Just the way that the whole nation pulled together, the way that people, you know, reached out to us and loved us so much. Through all of the, well, gosh, I was able to have my tubes untied. A doctor donated that to me, and
well, let's go back to that aspect of this story. At the time of the bombing, you were a divorced mother, single mom, taking care of your 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
And you had your tubes tied after the delivery of the last baby.
Mm-hmm.
After the bombing, you and the boy's father, your ex-husband, got back together.
Yes, we did.
Hang on, because this was a dramatic moment for us. And I remember I was standing right over there when the 2 of you were here. And this was before the wedding. In fact, this was before he'd officially asked you, and Tony proposed right here. I want to show that tape.
Edie,
What?
will you please marry me?
Yes, sir.
How was the wedding, and how is your life going?
Well, we got married just a few days after that. Like September 9th is when we got married. Everything's different. Our lives are certainly different. We live in a different home. We drive different vehicles. Everything is different. And even, you know, we don't take each other for granted anymore. And, you know, little things just don't matter. You know, we're able to mark everything. You know, if we get into an argument or whatever, we're able to mark that off as trivial.
You're hopeful to be able to conceive again. How did the surgery go, and what's the status of that?
The surgery was fine. They thought something was wrong in January because I wasn't pregnant yet. So I went back to Austin, and turns out my tubes were blocked, so they unblocked them. And if I don't get pregnant soon, it's not from lack of effort.
Oh, well, tell Tony, just stay on the case then, and please give him our best. We'll break away for just a couple of minutes. We hope you can stay close. When we come back, we'll find out how other people are coping in Oklahoma City today and talk with a correspondent who's grown very close to the families he was covering. Right after this, we'll be right back. About the tragedy in Oklahoma City through the very poignant words of the many correspondents who covered this story. And this is one of those individuals, Bob Stewart, who's a correspondent for People magazine. You have been a journalist for a long time.
30 years.
This story, I have to believe, affected you differently, Bob.
I have never been as affected by a story as this one. It was, first of all, you just get angry when you realize how many people died and how horrendous the crime was.
And how senseless a tragedy.
Extremely senseless. And I ended up with the children from the daycare center. That was
The audience is gasping because you look at her now, 1 year later, look how miraculous the healing has been. And with Ruth, a lot of your healing has been from the inside out.
Yes, it has.
I want to, as we continue talking, I want to show a photograph that we have of the blouse that you were wearing. Look at this. This is the shirt that this woman had on. It's hard to believe that you can even survive.
Yes.
I mean, it looks like you were just charred.
I was not burned at all, but I was covered in blood. In fact, they said I lost 4 units of blood. They said it was just, they'd call it a miracle. I call it God's hand of protection that I was able to not pass out and make it out of bed.
You know, it's very personal how people choose to react or have the ability to react to a tragedy like this. You have said that, much like Edie said, that you're grateful.
Yes, very.
Where does that come from? What do you mean?
Like Edie, I have a strong faith in my God. And I'm grateful to be alive. And I'm grateful to be able to see. I'm sorry, I didn't think I'd do this. When you spend 3 days when you can't see your children, and then you finally get to see them, you just realize how grateful you are to have one eye. And people who have two don't appreciate it. I didn't appreciate it.
You have 5 children.
Yes.
And you were able to actually use that one eye you have to see one of those children get married. And the 2 of you got married.
Yes.
Right.
When did you marry?
February 17th.
Congratulations to your
you.
daughter and to you, and thanks for joining us. So in this case, the recovery has come from a great inner strength, a great faith. How do victims recover? We're going to talk to a Red Cross nurse who takes us through that process when we come back. Learn to think like a criminal. Avoid becoming a victim.
Look for all the dangerous spots.
Tips that could save your life. Next, Leeza. Nurse Judy Toohey, who was there to do grief counseling with a lot of the victims at the bombing. And you have said that the physical reminders are part of the process that's very individual?
Absolutely. The wounded are still wounded. Many are profoundly deaf. Limbs are missing. They will not get better. They're not going to get better than they are possibly even now. The scars are left on buildings that were hurt by the blast. The chain link still stands. Little pieces of clothing are still tucked in the chain link. Reminders, little shoes. Birthdays come and go, and there's a little card to commemorate that birthday. No, the healing, it's going to take a long time. It's a life event which will never, never go away. Perhaps it's going to get a little lighter to bear. I hope so. But it's affected even the disaster workers. Everyone was hurt by this savage, senseless act.
And you're continuing to work with many of the families?
Yes, indeed. Anytime there's a call to come, do anything at all, the Red Cross certainly is there. That's what we're about. I was honored to be called to Oklahoma City, and I was there the second day. I never dreamed what I saw.
Thank you for the great work that you're doing. We appreciate it. I want to I want to put a positive focus on what we're talking about today, because there are so many stories of survival and strength and inspiration, and we're going to do more of that when we come back. Donna is going to get on the scene here. She's got something she wants to share with you, Dana. So if you think you've been surprised yet, hang tight, give us a couple of minutes, and we'll be right back with something special for you after this. There is an impending big event coming up in Dana's life, and her friend Donna has been working behind the scenes, Dana. Now, what's going on?
Well, Dana, on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce of Laguna Beach and all of us friends of yours...
Stand up, all of you friends.
Okay. And since you couldn't be here with us for the shower, we threw you one a surprise, and we have all your presents, and they'll be being mailed to you really soon. And I'll see you then in about a week and a half.
No, wait, there was a baby shower, Dana, that these girls just went on and had without you. Yeah. So we want to roll the tape now so you can see what happened in your honor. Here's the baby shower tape.
Hi, Gabe. Hi, Gabe. Hi, Dina. How are you? Well, welcome to Laguna Beach again. This is a surprise, and it's all for you and your families.
We're tasting baby food. This is what we're having for lunch in honor of your new baby. Several jars of unnamed baby food. And there's a big prize if we can guess which kind goes in which jar. Anyhow, we sure miss you, and I want to say hi to Grandma Mary.
Dana, I have someone really special here today I wanted to surprise you with. And here he is.
How you doing, Dana? It's Christopher. Gabe, how are y'all doing back home? We're having a baby shower here for you in Laguna Beach, and it's nice. And as you can probably hear the surf in the background, but we all got together and want to congratulate you, and I just want to tell you I love y'all.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye!
Christopher, by the way, is one of the people who saved Dana's life, so I know you'll be glad to see him on the tape. We're sending all these presents. It looks like some great ones. And Donna, along with all of these presents that we have up on the stage, we're going to pack them up in a box along with the videotape of the shower. And Gabe, you and Dana should be getting them real soon. That was really sweet, Donna.
Well, we had a great time.
I know you did. We'll be right back.
The Iced Teapot by Mr. Coffee. The easy way to enjoy fresh brewed iced tea made just the way you want it. The Iced Teapot. The Stain Gun, a powerful, non-toxic laundry pre-wash and stain remover. Fights tough stains like grass, chocolate, kids' drinks, and others. The Stain Gun, better than bleach.
I want you to please jot down this number that you see on the screen. We have all the information for you on how you can help the survivors in Oklahoma City. There is still so much to be done. We ask you to send your prayers their way. And Dana, to you and Gabe especially, thank you. Good luck with your upcoming arrival. I hope you have an easy delivery, Dana. Thanks so much to all of our guests for sharing your stories with us today. You know, when it's all said and done, we don't have the answers to what happened a year ago in Oklahoma City. We don't know why. What we do know is that 169 people died, and those who loved them have taught us all something about courage. The survivors will each mark this day in a personal way. We would like to mark it by dedicating our show to those who died and to those who carry on. We're all praying for closure and peace of mind for you all. God bless. Goodbye.